Hi there. One of the ways to be great at anything is to copiously consume the literature of the top 5 greatest people in that area. And I'll give you 3 examples. There's a man called Jason Taylor. Eventually became a very successful rapper, selling over 20 million copies. And I'll tell you his story. He applied the same principle. He was a gangbanger. He belonged to a gang called the Los Angeles Crips, and he was shot 5 times, almost died. And his brother said, enough of gangbanging. Choose a more noble profession, become a rapper. And you know what his brother did? His brother bought him the classic albums, hip-hop albums, and told him, listen to this, study it, learn from these classic rappers, these great rappers, and then craft and build a pattern for yourself. So his brother bought him classic albums like Illmatic from Nas, Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z, All Eyes on Me by Tupac, Life After Death by Notorious B.I.G., Doggy Style by Snoop Dogg, Chronic by Dr. Dre, Coming Out Hard by 8ball and MJG, classic albums. And he just went and listened to those albums and listened to them. See, he was listening to the best in the business that had ever done it. Listen to me. Do you want to be a great interviewer? Ask yourself, who are the 5 greatest interviewers of the last 100 years? You come up with names like Larry King, Howard Stern, Christian Amanpour, Steven Sacco, Riz Khan. You come up with names like Barbara Walters. If you now say, okay, I'm going to listen to the top 100 interviews Larry King has done, top 100 interviews that Barbara Walters have done. Barbara Walters was so great that interviewers will say, how come you know that detail about me? How come you know these facts? Because she said, I studied people to get even information that they did not know about themselves. And whenever she interview people, she will say, oh, that's an amazing question. That's a beautiful question. That's a great question. That's a great question. She copiously studied. So you could say, okay, I'm going to study Barbara Walters' best 100 interviews. I'm going to do the same thing for Steven Sacco at BBC, Christian Amanpour at CNN. I'm going to do the same thing for Riz Khan at Al Jazeera and study these people. Guess what? By the time you study 100 of the best interviews from 5 of the best interviewers, you have studied 500 of the best interviews. Guess what? You will never remain the same. Your life can never remain the same. Let's say you want to become a great boxer, and that was what Mike Tyson did. Mike Tyson wanted to become the greatest knockout puncher of all time. What did he do? He studied the greatest knockout matches of all time, 200 of them, copiously watching it one after the other, copiously watching it. Because let me tell you something, greatness is contagious. Greatness is infectious. When you do so, you will learn. Look at, and that was the principle that Gaddafi adopted. Gaddafi wanted to become a leader in Libya. What did he do? One of the greatest leaders in the Arab world that time was Al-Nasser, president of Egypt. And he would just listen to Al-Nasser every day, every morning. Listen to Al-Nasser, listen to Al-Nasser, listen to Al-Nasser. And then he was able to imbibe a playbook, a formula, a model, and apply that playbook. Led his nation for 40 years. Very few people have led their nations for as long as that. Why? Because he applied that principle, copiously consuming the literature, material, and content of the best people in that area. That was what he did. So let's assume that you want to be a great event planner. You should be studying people like Christine Banter. You want to be a great interior designer. You should be studying people like Kelly Wessler. You want to be a great makeup artist. You should be studying people like Bobby Brown, Pat McGrath. You should be studying these people, copiously studying them to a fault. Studying them to a fault. And that's how people become great at what they do. You want to become a great public speaker. You should ask yourself, first of all, who are the top 5 public speakers in the world? You come up with names like Carmen Gallo, David J.P. Phillips. They are the greatest teachers in public speaking, or the greatest authorities in public speaking. And if you do this, you find out that you end up being a great public speaker because you are copiously consuming their content, their literature, their books, their videos, and all that. I hope this works well for you. Do have an amazing day, and bye for now.
Tutelage trumps talent. Anytime, any day. Tutelage trumps talent. So no matter how talented you are, you must invest tremendously in tutelage. You must have the right mentors. You must be very well schooled. And I'm saying this especially for teenagers who are convinced that they are talented. You need to learn that a lot of people who went before you were talented but didn't end well. And I'll give you a couple of examples. TLC, great girl group, sold 40 million records but ended bankrupt. Tony Braxton, sold 50 million records, ended bankrupt. Mike Tyson made over $300 million in boxing, went bankrupt. These people were talented, clearly talented, but they lacked proper tutelage. It's not just good to be talented or enough to be talented. You must understand the business of your talent. You must understand the business of your talent. Probably even the business of your talent, you must understand the psychology of your industry. You must understand the spirituality of your industry. Yeah, all these things matter if you are going to really have a very good and robust career. If you look at people who were very successful in their industry, industries, they were able to combine a lot of all these qualities. So it was not just that, oh, they were very talented. And I'll share a story with you, 2 stories. Puff Daddy became arguably one of the most influential and prosperous music executives. I mean, of course, he's in jail now, awaiting trial sometime in May later this year. But he said that when he would start attending meetings as a music executive, at this time he had started his own label, Bad Boy. He said they'll be talking about the business of music, and some of the things they'll be talking about, he will have no clue whatsoever they're talking about. No clue whatsoever. If you look at all those groups like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, that made hundreds of millions of dollars for their record labels, one common denominator is that they never got paid commensurately for what they put out there. They never. In fact, there's a documentary on that called Dirty Pop on Netflix right now. But apart from that, you can go to other industries and see that no matter how talented you are, you must be somebody who is ready to dig deep and get to know a lot about the industry you're in. Then get good mentors, not just mentors, very good mentors who can help you scale through. So are you listening to me? Are you a teenager? You feel you're talented? Yes, it's not just enough to be talented. It's never enough. In fact, you need to even build character, because apart from even knowing the business of your sport or your industry, you need character as well. You need character. It was character that messed up the careers of people like Tiger Woods, character that messed up the careers of so many great people who were stupendously talented. I hope this works well for you. Do have an amazing day, and bye for now.
Hi there. I want to talk to you about the power of journaling. The power of journaling. Journaling is so powerful. In the last 15-20 years of my life, I have kept journals after journals. I journal a lot. In fact, first 2 hours when I wake up, I do a lot of thinking and journaling. So this is one of my journals. It is worn out. This is another journal I have. This is also worn out as well. Let me just show you. So this is another journal. This is yet another journal. And this is yet another journal. Now this is yet another journal. This is yet another journal. This is yet another journal, and this is another journal. Now, what has journaling done for me? Journaling has helped me to adopt the right philosophies in life. So whenever I'm reading, so that I don't read and forget, whenever I notice anything very powerful, I just write it down. That's the first thing I do, I write it down. So journal helps you to revisit the right philosophies in life. So I'll give some examples. The first time I heard Robin Sharma say, habits are sour at the start, messy at the middle, easy at the end, I was like, what? That's powerful. Wrote it down. When I heard Robin Sharma say that if we sweat more in training, we'll bleed less in war. Like, what? That was heavy, man. When I heard Sam Adeyemi say that attitude destroys facts, or attitude are more powerful than the facts, I was like, what? When I heard Sam Adeyemi say that you attract what you predominantly think of. What? So these journals are journals of golden nuggets. These journals have given me the beautiful life I have today. These journals, and that's why I don't play with my journals. I take my journals with me everywhere I go. I revisit my journals every time. And whenever I am in a low state in life, or I feel like I'm losing energy, morale, motivation, I just go back to my journals. Now, there are 3 journals you need. You need an insight journal. Like I said, when you notice something like insightful, you write it down. You need an insight journal. Some of the insight journals are journals of things that I just conceived myself. For example, when I say things like words deeply felt become images, images deeply felt become experiences, I conceived it, I wrote it down. When I say things like you can't be holy without the Holy Bible, Holy Communion, and Holy Spirit, inside journal. If you are fed by the Spirit, you'll be led by the Spirit. That's an insight. I write all these things. And so you need an insight journal. The second type of journal you need is a regret journal. And I'll tell you what that means. In life, we make mistakes. No human being is error prone. We have made 1 or 2 mistakes in life, but it's always good to go back to your mistake. There's something called the power of regret. There's a great man who wrote a book called The Power of Regret, Daniel Pink. I think you should read that book. Great book. When you go through your mistakes, it helps you to avoid making those mistakes again. So you should have an insight journal and a regret journal. Then you should have a vision journal, a journal of your dreams, visions, and aspirations, things that you want to do. So those are 3 journals that every human being needs. But journaling is powerful. It has worked for me. It has worked for me so well. For example, let me give you 1 more nugget. This is from Shark Tank billionaire Hegel. He says that general knowledge attracts little rewards, but specialized knowledge attracts major rewards. And you look at people, the richest doctors are doctors that have specialized knowledge. The richest plastic surgeons are those that have specialized knowledge. But general knowledge, if you tell somebody that, come and help me fix the screen of my phone, how much do they charge to fix the screen of phone? Because it's general. But if you can create an amazing AI-powered smartphone, specialized knowledge, you get major rewards. Well, so journals have helped my life, and I hope that they do the same for you. Keep a journal. Do you have a journal? Do you keep 3 journals? An insight journal, a regret journal, and a vision journal, and do you revisit them regularly? I hope you do so, and I hope they work for you. Share your testimonies with me. Do have an amazing day, and bye for now. Hi there. I'm going to talk about how you can create a compelling 5-year goal for your life. A compelling 5-year goal for your life. And I'll give you amazing case studies. I'll start with Ben Carson. Ben Carson had a goal to become one of the greatest neurosurgeons in the world. And he had just one major step to take. And all these people who I'm going to chronicle and profile, they took just one major step. You see, when I coach people, they come and they say they want to do a lot of things. They want to accomplish this in their social life, in their marriages, in their finances, in their career. And I tell them that you're making a mistake. Choose one goal in your life, just one goal. You know what Warren Buffett said? Warren Buffett said, if you want to be a great achiever, write down 10 things you want to achieve and wipe out the last 8. Can you imagine? Write down the 10 things you want to achieve and wipe out the last 8 and focus on the first 2 only. So I want to tell you, so Ben Carson became the greatest pediatric neurosurgeon in the world at Johns Hopkins University. And guess what he did? He said, I'm going to do one thing. All the surgeons perform 170 surgeries every year. I'm going to perform 250. I'm going to perform 70 more. The rest is history. He's an icon. He's written New York Times bestsellers. He needs no introduction. One thing you're going to do. Warren Buffett wanted to become the wealthiest investor in the world and achieved it. One thing he said he was going to do, he said he was going to study for 5 hours every day. Wall Street Journal, financial reports of organizations, study for 5 hours copiously, 5 quality hours of study every day. Next example, David Beckham. David Beckham said he wanted to become the best winger in the world. Well, one thing he was going to do, he said he was going to practice for 2 hours extra, 2 extra hours every day. After practice sessions were over and everybody went back home, he would stay back and practice for 2 hours every day. The 4th example, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant said he wanted to become the greatest basketballer of his time, and he became exactly that. 5 championships with the Los Angeles Lakers. What was he going to do? He says players have 2 practice sessions every day. He said he was going to have 4 practice sessions every day. So, first practice session, wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, do 2 hours or 3 hours to 6. Rest for his body to rejuvenate. Do another practice session in the late morning, stroke afternoon, 10 to 2. Then rest, wait for his body to rejuvenate. Do another practice session, 3 to 5. Rest, rejuvenate. Then do another one, 7 to 9. So, he was doing 4 practice sessions every day, twice more than others. 2 times. Other players were doing 2 practice sessions every day. He was doing 4. Just one more thing, one major thing you are going to do. So I'm going to say to you, what do you want to become in 5 years? And what is that one thing? What 2? One major thing you are going to do every day. Remember, some things cannot be done until you make it a daily practice. All the examples I'm giving you are people who do things on a daily basis. Beckham daily, Kobe Bryant daily, Warren Buffett daily, Ben Carson daily. What is that one thing you're going to do? Is it meditation, intense meditation? Is it prayer? Is it deep work? You're a caterer, deep work. You're a lawyer, deep work, 2 extra hours of study every day. What is that one thing? And if you do that over a 5-year period, you will see clearly how you can manifest your 5-year goal. You may have to do 1 or 2 tweaks here and there, but in doing that one thing, life in itself begins to open opportunities to you. Because life does not ignore people who have one thing, which is one thing. Life is going to and fro looking for people who are obsessed with one thing. And then you give yourself commit to one thing, you begin to attract those once in a lifetime opportunities. It's as if all the energies you need begin to come in your favor. I'm going to hear your testimony and I'm going to rejoice with you. God bless you. Do have an amazing day, and bye for now.
The reason why many people do not meet their goals is because they don't have systems. Like James Clear said, the author of Atomic Habits, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So I want to talk about 6 ways that you can build systems. Really, it's all about your systems, not about your goals or your desires. So there are 6 systems you can build. The first system you can build is a passion-based system. That is, one of the greatest things that enhance people's choices and their behavior character is passion. People really do what they want to do or what they feel like doing most of the time. So you can build a passion-based system. And what do I mean by this? Very simple. A lot of people employ this principle. Subway, for example, they wanted to get young people in America to start eating healthy. So what did they do? They got people that young people were passionate about, like Kobe Bryant, to begin to endorse Subway's offerings. So you see Kobe Bryant endorsing a healthy sandwich, and then young people began to gravitate towards it. And that's what a lot of brands do. They get a LeBron James, they get a Tiger Woods, they get a Roger Federer, they get, an athlete, a Michael Jordan, to endorse their products, and then people begin to flock into it, people begin to buy into it. So a passion-based system is what can work. Now, you may say, I'm not a brand. I want to do a master's. How do I use a passion-based system to ignite me? I'll give you a story. There was a man called Daniel Ariely, still alive, great thinker in my opinion, and he had to undergo a very painful medical injections that were very painful. And he applied this principle. He said, I don't like these injections, but guess what? I like watching movies. So I will watch movies while they inject me. Can you see? So in a passion-based system, you are merging what you don't like like with what you like. You are merging what you don't like with what you like, so that the effect is not very intense on you. Now, I'll give you other examples. There's a woman who, her child did not like eating carbohydrates, healthy carbohydrates, but the child liked toys and Mickey Mouse. So she would use Mickey Mouse to draw the carbohydrates. It was lumpy foods, and then she would shape the food in the shape of Mickey Mouse. And then before you knew it, the boy, was very excited to see the food and started eating it. I'll give you two more examples. In Singapore, they know that children like social media. So when they are creating some of their books, their textbooks, they use the same graphic interface, the same graphic design of a Facebook, of a Twitter, to get children to get more in tune with what they want to teach them. There are teachers who have taught using songs. Just go online, you will see teachers that teach now using rap songs. Children may not like mathematics, they may not like science, but they like rap. So what do? They merge the two together. So you can employ a passion-based system. It works. The second is a pain-based system. Do something that pains you, that propels you to do it. And society does it a lot. People don't like paying taxes. They issue penalties. You don't pay your taxes, you go to jail. You don't pay your penalties, you get a fine. People drive in wrong manner, you pay a fine, you get a ticket and all that. So society does it a lot, putting penalties. So you say, okay, I want to do a master's this year. What painful thing will I make myself suffer if I do not complete or enroll or start my master's? That's one way you can build a system. You can build a system around it like that. The third way you can build a system is that you can say, I'm going to put myself in a network that encourages me to do those things. I'll give you an example. LeBron James never used to wake up at 4 a.m. to practice, but he went on the same team for the Olympics, the USA Redeem team that won the Olympics with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was waking up by 4 a.m. And because Kobe Bryant was waking up by 4 a.m. to practice, all the other teammates began to wake up at 4 a.m. So you have heard the saying that you are nothing more than your 5 closest friends. So this is what I am saying to you. The same way you can go on a dating site. There are so many platforms for people who want to build their finances to a certain level. There are so many of them on YouTube. There are so many of them on social media. There are financial clubs that people can join. There are so many WhatsApp groups and social networks that people can join and see people who are of like minds and become like that. I'll give you the example of Grameen Bank, one of the biggest banks in the world in terms of a bank that helps people with collateral-free loans. It was started by Mohammed Yunus, currently the president of Bangladesh. How do they get women to pay back their loans? Because the loans are collateral-free. There's no collateral. They get them to be part of a network. They call it a solidarity group of 8 women. The 8 women have to vouch for you. And if you default, it will affect the other 8 women. So networks really work. Networks work. They do work. So many people have, been part of groups that have influenced them either negatively or positively. So that's one thing that you can do. You can join a group. You can go online and look for groups, just whatever it is. I want to join a reading group, a reading community, a community of people that want to go into certain kinds of businesses or anything. Just join a community. So you can use a network group. The fourth way you can build a system is that you can use what I call an image pact. I did it when I was going to start the Immersion Bible. I went and I put forth my image to all my friends. I told everybody that when I'm 40 years old, on my 40th birthday, I'm going to launch a Bible. And I did it because I put my image out there. I can't disappoint. My brand is at stake. My reputation is at stake. I put it out there, put my image out there that this is who I am. Backstreet Boys did it. For their 3rd or 4th album, they came out and said, if we don't sell 10 million units, we retire. And they did it. They didn't sell 10 million and that was it. They stopped putting out albums. So an image pact can push you. The second one is an accountability pact. If you have somebody that you really respect that can hold you accountable, you can tell the person that this is what I have pledged to do. Please hold me accountable. If I don't do it, hold me accountable. It could be your friends, it could be your relatives, it could be your mother-in-law, it could be your mentor, anybody. So that's the 5th one. So you have a passion pact, a pain pact, a network pact, an image pact, an accountability pact. The final one is what I call a price pact, money. That you say, if I don't do this thing, I'm going to let go of a certain amount of money. I know people who have done it. They said, if I don't come to the gym instructor deduct this particular amount. And once the instructor deduct particular amount over time, they wake up and they start going to the gym. A price pact has worked for many people, many people. That's how fines get people to do the right thing, because they get you to forgo money. You spend money because you pay a fine because you don't do this, you don't do that. The reason why a lot of people drive and behave well is because they are fines. The reason why people behave properly in Singapore is not because they love to behave well, but because there are systems in place, there are checks and balances, there are fines, there are penalties for doing things. So now guess what? Why am I doing this video? I've seen that different things work for different people. Some people, they may do well with image pact to accountability pact. But for some people, they may do well with a price pact. When I was working on the Immersion Bible, I locked myself up in my house for 3 days and I told somebody to take the key. There was no food, no phone, no friends. No food, no phone, no friends for 3 days. I gave my phones out to my friend and I said, you know what, take this phone. If I come out, I'll give you $500,000. This was about 3-4 years ago, because I needed to do a lot of work on the Immersion Bible and I wasn't doing that. I said, I need to lock myself up and just get myself on. So you can do it. That's ways you can build systems into your life. These are powerful ways you can build systems. I hope this works well for you. Do have an amazing day and bye for now.
There is something called a recipe for success. I'll give you an example. I have studied meditation to some extent, and I have discovered that different people have different kinds of meditation practices that work for them. Take Hillary Clinton, for example. She practices meditation. She says that the meditation she practices is breathing meditation, so she focuses on her breath. Then take Ray Dalio, billionaire investor. He says the meditation he practices is transcendental meditation, not breathing meditation like Hillary Clinton, but transcendental meditation. Then take Ariana Huffington, Oprah Winfrey, and Deepak Chopra. They practice mindfulness meditation, where they are just thinking about the present moment. So you have 3 classes of people, and they practice 3 different types of meditation. And you have even more people that do other types of meditation. So every human being I have studied has a success model. I'm saying this because if you find your success model, regardless of what happens in the society, in the economy, you'll find out that you are succeeding because you have found a success recipe. What do I mean? I'll give you an example. For Kobe Bryant, one of his success recipes is waking up very early in the morning, very early at 4 a.m. in the morning to practice for hours, shooting about 500 free throws, just practicing. That's one of his recipes for success. For Warren Buffett, he says one of his recipes for success is reading for at least 5 hours every day. Reading for at least 5 hours every day. But that is his own recipe for success. For Oral Roberts, the great evangelist, he says, my recipe for success is praying in tongues, interpreting what I say, and then sowing a seed. Before I do anything major, I pray in tongues, I interpret it to be sure I'm supposed to do that, and then I sow a seed towards it. That's his own recipe. But guess what? When you study other men of God, you find out that their recipe for success is different. For somebody like Pastor Adeboye, he says his recipe for success are the 3 H's: humility, hallowing God, and holiness. That I will succeed as long as I remain holy, I hallow God, and I stay home. That's his recipe for success, the 3 H's. Every human being has his own recipe for success. And I'm saying to you, what is your own recipe for success? Have you found your success recipe? Have you found your success formula? I'll give you a tale of 2 men of God. For Pastor Adeboye, who was a strong admirer of Kenneth Hagin, fasting is one of his recipes for success. Fasting, especially prolonged fasting, 40-day fast regularly. Guess what? Kenneth Hagin only fasted 5 times in his 50-year career. Only 5 times. He lived a fasted life, so he ate every day minimal food, but he fasted only 5 times. When you compare that to Pastor Adeboye, you see a gulf. One is addicted to a lot of fasting, one is not. So I'm saying to you that every human being has a recipe for success. What is your own recipe for success? For philosophers like Mark Twain, they love to go on long walks. That's when they got their best ideas. That's their recipe for success. So walking was it. For a lot of people, exercise is part of their success recipe. What they do on a daily basis. For some people, it's exercise. For some people, they practice what we call gratitude. They write down about 7 things they are grateful for, and they do it every day. It's part of their recipe for success. What is your recipe for success? I hope you find it. I hope you face it, and I hope you flourish in it. Do have an amazing day. Bye for now.